Welcome back to the Fit Life Podcast. My name is Joe Chroman. Today we're going to be talking about frailty, obesity, and healthy aging. Today we have a special guest with us. Let's get started on the show right now. All right. So Heather, so great to have you here on the show.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited.
I am too. This is going to be great. So let's just kind of dive in and tell me a little bit about your background, how you became a fitness trainer. I love your backstory. So if you can share that with the listeners, that'd be awesome.
Okay, yeah, sure. Back in the day, I was in college to teach English. I knew I wanted to be a teacher since I was 5 years old. And so in college, I was taking a strength training class. Mm-hmm. And I was on the pec deck, and I was just doing it. And I heard this little voice say, "You should teach this." And then the other little voice said, "No, you're here to teach, kids how to appreciate literature and to enrich their lives with it." So I said, "Okay, fine." And kept going with the program. So taught for 3 years. Wow. And it was not a great experience, nothing like I experienced as a student. So right. I just said, no, this is not for me, obviously. So fast forward, I used to go to the Y a lot and take my daughter and put her in child watch and go take classes primarily. I mean, I did some lifting, in the gym as well, but took classes primarily. And, so it dawned on me, okay, well, why don't you just teach this? I mean, you love it. You want, just like when you wanted kids to love literature, you want, people to love fitness. And the people who are there because they want to be.
Exactly.
They're not mandated to be there, right. They really want to be there. Mm-hmm. So I was like, I was supposed to be a teacher my whole entire life. This is what I think. I should have listened to that small voice that day in the weight room and, right. Should have followed it. But, you live and learn. That's what life is about. It's about learning from your mistakes and your failures. So,
and I think you had the experience. So if you would have done it back then, you may not have the impact that you have now. So.
Right. Yeah. I've certainly learned a lot along the way. I began training in 2007. Wow. I began my personal training business in 2007. And I can tell you, I was your average trainer, not really programming very well, not giving great dietary advice or, even though I wasn't a nutrition coach,
Yeah.
But in 2015, I was doing a little random search for podcasts, fitness podcasts, because I was like, hey, I need to learn as much as I can, right? Mm-hmm. I've always been a lifelong learner. So, once I decided that that's what I was going to do, I just, deep dived into everything and just wanted to learn anything I could. So I was like, all right, need to hit up a podcast, a fitness podcast. Mm-hmm. And I found Mind Pump, which you are very familiar with.
Right.
And it was from that point on, I programmed myself better, for my own workouts. I programmed, my clients better. Right. Just learned a lot. And it really did make me a better trainer. I really do believe. But also at the time, so that was 2015. At the time, 2013 through 2015, I was a triathlete. In 2012, I did some half marathons too, but I was a triathlete and did really well. The age group I was in was very competitive, and I made the podium just about every race I embarked on. But in 2015, I hung it up. I said, this is not great. I'm losing a lot of muscle. I'm spending endless hours of training, and I needed time back. I needed to get my time back to spend with my family, my daughter who was growing up. So just left that world behind and said, all right, that's it. Resistance training all the way. Cardio, what I call smart cardio.
Right.
not just going into a spin class and making yourself, sweat.
Yes.
It's a difference,
Right.
Um, so, so yeah, so that, brings me to today, what's this, 19 years in the business so far.
Unbelievable. Yeah.
So, yeah, so I'm where I need to be.
Yeah. And you got a lot of experience. So a lot of just overall knowledge, and you wouldn't have had that if you hadn't spent all them years. So that's what makes you a great coach, great trainer, and I love the content that you put out. I've learned
Thank
so
you.
much in just the past few months just listening to you, and I love that
Thanks.
we connected because that was so cool. Because I just kind of seen your content, and we, was familiar with Mind Pump, kind of had that connection, and so that was super, super cool. All right. So let's dive into these questions that I know our listeners are going to definitely benefit through. So, what exactly is frailty? And I don't know, make it simple for the older folks.
Yeah. Well, frailty is probably what you see in your parents, or your grandparents. It's just the ability to, not really, take care of yourself. You have to depend on, other people, for, just your foundational things that you do in
Mm-hmm.
life. Frailty is also, I mean, like you see these, little ladies that, I see them in my senior classes,
Mm-hmm.
and they're very small framed, very little muscle, and when they fall, they break, and some of them, I mean, are never the same, and it's very sad. It makes me very sad
It
because
is.
I know that they could have had it better. But that's not their fault. I'm not a doctor,
Right.
but I I am very friendly with doctors.
Mm-hmm.
I've trained doctors. I'm in partnership with a doctor, and I mean, from everything I've studied, they, let's say, the generation, that during the, like 90s to
Mm-hmm.
2000s were, in their 50s and 60s, and now in their 70s and 80s. They were really, underserved. Uh,
Yes.
we had, that, especially the females.
Mm-hmm.
Before 1993, females weren't even studied in, research, especially
Isn't,
not exercise
isn't
research.
that a shame? That's crazy.
Yeah, and it's a shame, and because of it, I mean, you do see that frailty, you do see
Mm-hmm.
that weakness, and the, lack of, independence. And I think it's really sad, but I think that we're really trying to not get our, are we about the same age, right? I'm 53.
I'm 48.
48.
So,
Yeah,
yeah.
you're younger,
Yeah.
but you're still like in that same
Yes.
generation.
Yep.
And we're not, I mean, I hope that we are not going to have the fate that, like our parents or grandparents or our parents and grandparents' friends have had.
Yes, exactly. I mean, I'm thinking like understanding like what we do, understanding how to build a better body,
Yeah.
strong strength, longevity. That's important. And I think like you said, a few years back, nobody really knew how this worked. And I always tell people, look, we are literally like 1% of trainers that do what we do. I really believe that because
Yeah.
we really look like as far as the assessments and we follow through. I always tell my clients, look, I'm going to be assessing you from the very beginning till the end of this program, and hopefully it's going to be a life program because it's about longevity. So I
Yeah.
love that you're focusing on that, like us being back in, like, say, the 90s, 80s, 90s era was all about, you know, uh, don't eat this. It's like for years, it was like, okay, don't eat eggs. Don't drink milk. So all those things were
Yeah.
like, what do we do? And then like with the strength training, we was always about, okay, more or less calories, move more. And then that really didn't help us because that really brought on the being frail,
Yeah.
and it's made people weak, and it's sad because we see people like you said that are moving slow at an older age, But you're seeing people that in their 70s now that has been strength training, and holy smokes. I mean, I seen one lady doing like 8 pull-ups. She's 83. I'm like, what in the world?
Yeah.
So that's just huge. So it shows, well, age is really not, it's just a number,
Right.
and if we can build, we can always build muscle. We probably heard for years, it's like, oh, I don't want to work out because when we get older, we're going to be fat. It's like, what in the world? So I love that. And I think if you want to share, it's up to you. I know we talked about how your parents, what situation they're in, if that's okay for you to share with the
Yeah.
listeners, is kind of the reason why you got into fitness, maybe. So if you can share
Definitely.
that.
Yeah. And even before them, like, at least on one side of the family, my, grandparents, had not, they weren't in the greatest health either, but my parents have definitely followed suit. I won't go into any detail or anything,
Mm-hmm.
but they're not, and they haven't been since they retired. When you retire, you expect that to be your golden years, and you're supposed to
Mm-hmm.
be living your best life, doing all the things that you never got to do because you were working and raising kids. And they didn't really experience any of that because of their health. And that's very sad.
Yeah, it
Um,
is.
and I just don't want anybody I know to
Mm-hmm.
also have that same fate. I don't want that same fate for myself either. And I don't want anyone else to have to go through that. So, I mean, that's a real, they were a really big driver,
Mm-hmm.
of my philosophy and the whole reason why I do anything. And, like you were saying earlier, it's, they were underserved, because like now we have information about how we can make it to where they're not frail.
Right.
And it really is all about like mindset and how you frame it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really about, it really is about programming.
Yeah.
um you have to say, kind of put it in the mind frame of, okay, well, these, people want to be able to climb stairs, pick up
Mm-hmm.
their grandkids, carry their groceries without help, get off the toilet without help.
Yes.
They, and the only way really to do that is to try as early as you can and modify as much as you can, but try to teach them how to do those fundamental activities of daily
Exactly.
living without
Mm-hmm.
help, and to really, thrive so that they can, be able to, do the things that they want to do, now that they're, definitely, not, probably not working,
Right.
it really is just a matter of how you frame it, and
Mm-hmm.
what, how you program it as to, whether or not they're going to experience frailty or not.
Right. And I've always say your body's like a laboratory. Whatever
Mm-hmm.
you put in it, it's what you're going to get out of it. If you're mixing the wrong stuff in there, it's going to explode, right? You're going to
Yes.
have problems. So it's like, okay, mix the right amounts. And like we talk about macros, it's like, okay, let's put the protein in, let's put the right type of carbohydrates, right amount of fats. And it just works. Your body is made to do this. It's like, okay, we have to have carbs, we have to have protein, we have to have fats for our bodies to work. Now it's exception to the rule. People have diseases and different things that certain things have, but that's what we're trying to prevent.
Yes.
We're trying to prevent the diabetes, the cancers. I mean, there's not 100% of what we can do with cancers. My wife is stage 4 contained, thankful to God. A lot of going on there, but we can do better. It's like, okay, we've got to eat better. We've got to move. I mean, she was 5 in the morning this morning doing squats, body squats, and she's,
Right.
that's awesome, you
Yeah.
know. So if just doing what we can do and putting the right, even putting the right stuff in our bodies, sometimes, genetics, it's not always 100%, but it's more than what it could be now,
Right.
or, like you were saying, okay, we don't want to be this frailty person. We're trying to prevent being frail and and being falling and breaking a hip. And just from one little movement, I remember not too long ago, I'm laying in bed. I did not do nothing at all. My eyes open and my back went out. I'm like,
Yeah.
what in the world? Whatever that was, right? I worked it out and but it's just like, can you imagine that could have been really bad if
Yeah.
I wasn't fit? You just
Mhm.
and then you're scared. Like these elderly people are scared because they're
Yes.
scared to work out. They're scared to do anything because it's like, oh, if I do this, I'm gonna break a bone or I'm gonna do this. And I'm glad that you're able to, and I as well, getting the elderly people because I do. I have a 60-year-old and I have a 76-year-old that my clients, and I help them bring the what we call paraphrasing. Kind of give them the confidence and say, hey, you can do these things and look at the results
Yeah.
what's going to happen for you. So amazing. I love that approach. So let's flip to obesity. And what's your thoughts on that?
Well, obesity is, definitely been an issue for a very long time. And, and we've all seen the studies. It's, highly processed foods that
Mm-hmm.
really, drive that.
Right.
And so obesity is just as much of an issue as frailty.
Absolutely.
Um, and, so, I mean, that also has to, I saw my parents and my grandparents go through that.
Mm-hmm.
And, just the health outcomes due to that, diabetes,
Mm-hmm.
everything. It's just, again, it takes your independence away.
It really does. You're
I
right.
mean, yeah, I mean, either way, if you're too frail, too thin, or too obese,
Right.
either way, you're going to not be able to live your best life.
Mm-hmm. And it's
Uh,
not like you got to do a bunch of things. It's
no,
like the
no,
simple things. It's like you don't have to be in the gym 5 days a week.
no.
You don't have to quit eating everything you like. And that's like
Right.
such a myth and a lie.
Yes.
I really feel like it's like, okay, let's look at the facts. The facts
Yeah.
are if you eat good, you walk, you stay hydrated, and you strength train once to twice a week, you're going to be healthy, right? Bottom line, you're going to be healthy,
Yep.
longevity. So I definitely agree with the obesity. And you think about it, okay, obesity causes all kinds of problems. The diabetes causes, fatty tumors and fatty liver,
Mm.
all that stuff. And it's like your knees are in bad shape, your back's in bad shape, everything, your mobility is hurt, and then your confidence is down, and then all of a sudden the emotional problems. So
Yes.
the fight in your mind saying, "Oh, I can't do this."
Right.
There's that negative thing that you're feeding, and then you're like, oh, I did this to myself. I can never get out of it, and that's a hard situation. So if we can some way prevent or even just give a little nudge to our listeners and say, hey, look, one step at a time.
Yeah.
You don't have to be in the gym 5 days a week. You
Mm-mm.
can get in touch with a coach or a trainer. That is so important because even us, like
Yes.
we've talked about, it's like even I have coaches.
Yep.
I'm thankful that my mentors don't charge me anything. But the value is incredible, and I love this. I love this community. But anyway, so I love that. So, what is your thoughts as far as medically longevity on obesity? I know I shared some of it, but what is your thoughts? I want to hear what your approach is.
Well, like how I approach it.
Yeah.
Um,
Like, how would
well,
you train a person that's obesity, or what's for our
gotcha.
listeners knowledge that they can put in their toolbox?
Yeah. Well, definitely you have to strength train.
Mm-hmm.
Number one, it's good for your metabolism. The
Absolutely.
more muscle mass you have, the more calories you burn at rest. And there's disagreement on how much that is, but
Sure.
regardless, it's
Mm-hmm.
at least some.
That's right.
Um, and just the basic movements. It doesn't
Mm-hmm.
have to be fancy. It doesn't
Mm-hmm.
have to take forever. You could,
Right.
I mean, I have some online clients, they do a 10 to 15-minute workout every day,
Yeah.
and it fits in their lives very
Mm-hmm.
easily. It's very easy to do. But so, yeah, you don't have to have it something overcomplicated.
Mm-hmm.
Diet doesn't need to be completely restrictive.
Right.
You can still, have fun with your family. and eat within reason. Like you could still go out with friends to a restaurant. Just one way to do that is check the menu first. Pick the best choice for you and decide right there that that's what you're going to order, and you don't divulge or divert from that. You just you make that decision. So I mean, you can't be restrictive, because if you restrict yourself too much, then you're going to kind of resent it, and you're not going to want to do it. Same thing with if you push yourself too much in the gym, you're going to get hurt, or you're going to resent that also, and then end up not doing it. It's just you. And like you said, I mean, just walk. You don't have to go run.
That's right.
A lot of people ask me, oh, well, should I be running? It's like, well,
no.
Running is in my mind, just, from my background, running is a sport. It's not necessarily an exercise.
Yes. And you have to train for that.
You do. You have to train for it.
Because you can't just take off running like we was kids.
Exactly.
Because we was doing that all the time. So you was used to the impact on your knees and your ankles and all that. But when you quit running, when you stopped at 18, 20, 25, whatever age, you're done. I mean, it's like, not done, but you know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, now you got to train for it and get your ankles more stable, more strength, get your tendons looser, and all that plays a big part. And then maybe you can run, and that's what I always tell people. It's like, okay, you don't have to run. You can literally walk a leisurely walk for 20 minutes a day and still going to get some great benefits.
And especially after meals, 10 minutes.
Yes.
10 minutes after meals, get yourself a dog. He's right behind me. He's taking a nap right now, but like after every single meal.
And get you a big dog, because it'll sure enough make you walk.
He's 51 pounds and he pulls me.
Wow.
Yeah, he's 51 pounds. So, but yeah, and it doesn't have to be anything that's super, complicated.
Right.
It really is just about the big, I call them the big rocks of fitness, maybe 2 to 3, if you have the time, 2 to 3 full body workouts, with resistance training, that just involves the things that you're going to do in life. Push, pull, squat, and hinge. Those are the things you're always going to do. You're always going to find yourself doing those. You can skip the bicep curl, because, I mean, you curl things all the time, but, when you hit those compound movements, you're still going to hit those muscles. So,
absolutely. If you're doing...
and at least walk after meals. At least walk after meals, or get your steps in. I'm sitting right now, but try not to sit.
Yeah, that's right.
If you're older and you're retired, and say your grandchildren or your children don't even live around here anymore, volunteer. Don't just say, well, this is life now. This is life, me just sitting at home.
Yeah, and I'm going to give up.
Yeah, no, don't ever give up. Go out and, start with community. That's why, like, I teach senior fitness classes. And, I think those are very valuable. Now, for younger people, like in other large group fitness classes, I rail against those. I'm like, listen, you got to get yourself out of the class, yoga, Pilates, spinning, all those other classes, and get in the weight room, and
the one-on-one approach too.
Yeah, you need the one-on-one, because you need to, have somebody checking your form. I can't check your form
when there's
in a class of 30 people. Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's even difficult for me to do with my senior classes, but I know that one part of them being there is holding themselves accountable, having friends, having community.
Yes.
So I don't mind senior classes. I think they're a great way to go. But I tell you, most of my senior class members, they also train with me or with someone else one-on-one.
Awesome.
Because they know they need that, they need that individual attention as well. Yeah. And also, I love it. My seniors, they are always encouraging one another to grab the next heavy weight.
Wow.
They are cheering each other on. When they see another one get to the next heavyweight, they're like, "Oh my gosh, look at you. Yeah, that's wonderful. You're getting so strong." And it's a good place to get some reinforcement. But and they're also a little bit smaller classes. I get, maybe 20 people max. So I mean, they don't get that individual attention, like I said, but like I said, they either seek it out from
they're
me.
mentoring each other.
And they are, yes.
So they're getting a little bit of that one-on-one because there's probably always want, especially seniors, they have a lot of knowledge and some of them just want to sit around and talk, but it's like, they help each other. It's like, hey, wow, you did that. Maybe I can do that. Whatever. And even 20 though is a lot. That's a lot. But
and I feel like I'd really rather be able to, like, oh, maybe you shouldn't do it this way and point them out, but it's nearly impossible to do in a class.
Yeah, and they're moving, so we're getting movement in.
And to that point too, a lot of people underestimate these seniors.
Right. Yes.
I mean, and sometimes, I mean, I have people in my class who are early retirees. So I wouldn't call them seniors. I would call them active older adults. And that's another phrase that we use around here.
Right.
But I don't just have them picking up the pink baby weights and, doing like wrist curls or something.
Right.
We do the things that you have to do in life. Hinge, row, push, squat, push, pull, hinge, row, and squat. Just the other day, we did a pause squat.
Nice.
And, and I tell everybody, go to the depth where you feel comfortable.
Right.
But we did a pause squat. And I said, imagine when you go into a public restroom, you want to sit on that toilet? No, you need to hover over that toilet.
Real life importance.
Exactly. And so that's what we address in that class in those classes are things that we work on balance because that is something that they don't work on.
Absolutely.
And then they, they fall. And so we work on balance a lot too. And again, and when they can hold a one-legged stand, longer than they did 2 classes ago.
Right.
They're beaming with pride and they should be proud.
Yeah.
Because, when they were younger, they were raising families, they were working, they probably weren't exercising. So, they don't have, some of them don't have a great base.
Yes.
Which is how we failed. We failed them in the past.
Yes, that's true. Yeah.
Never impressing upon them.
That's right. And what's cool is a story, I'm not a story, but one of my clients, she's probably, she's still young, probably 60s, maybe 62, somewhere around there.
That's young.
Yeah. And so she crushed her shoulder way back when, falling off a horse. So the confidence wasn't there. Everything was tight, all her tendons and everything. And she was like, there was no way she can be able to do a lunge. There was no way she can do like we started out with kind of a split squat, kind of just where I kind of supported her, where she's getting that stretch depth just a little bit. And then as we worked, I would do like these wall lunges, kind of like hold and I was doing stretching, quote unquote. We're doing these stretches. Well, what happened in a series of doing these stretches, she got even more flexible. And then I looked back one day, I said, hey, look at you. She's like, what? I said, you're literally doing a lunge right now. She's like, I am, so that was like, building something, like building the confidence in these older people, because I think a lot of that, like you're saying, with balance, and her balance got a lot better through, a few weeks and months. And it's like, the confidence is not there. And it's so they're so afraid because the tightness that, if you think about it, say you swam all day and you haven't swam in years, right? You feel sore the next morning. You don't want to move. You're like, everything's tight and everything's hurt. And I've usually likened that to people that hasn't never worked out. It's like, you're going to feel that tomorrow. We don't want to stay like that all the time, but you're going to feel that tomorrow. I said, but don't feel intimidated by it. That's just natural. We're stretching out tendons because they've been tight all these years. Once we stretch that out, the mobility is going to be better and you're going to have so much more movement. So I think they're scared sometimes because they're afraid to fall. They feel wobbly. Even me, before I had started getting back into shape, whatever that is, right? What's a shape? But get back fit, going downstairs hurt my knees.
Yeah.
And to the point of I felt a little bit uncomfortable. I thought, I'm gonna fall. And I was only like 38. So that was like 10 years ago. And I was like, what is the deal? And after I started getting back in the gym because I separated my shoulders, one of my shoulder years ago. So I couldn't work out anyway. Long story short, or long story longer, I guess we'll say, right? But as I worked out, my knees started getting stronger. I started feeling better. So the confidence was there. Now I'm taking 2 or 3 steps at a time up running like I used to when I was a kid, like running up the steps and down the steps. I don't even think about it anymore, except for when I was carrying a little mini fridge down to my studio yesterday. I had it full of water. So I picked it up. I'm like, man, I can do this. I'm like, wait, come on, Joe. Let's dial it back and let's be smart about this. So I got the dolly and all that kind of stuff, but I couldn't really see what was going on. So I just unloaded the waters, grabbed the fridge, and went down the steps a little, slow, of course, but I was confident that I can do that. And that came with strength training, build my confidence. Now I'm stronger. Now, I feel better, more energy. So all that plays a huge part. It doesn't matter what age. It doesn't matter what age.
No,
it doesn't matter. And I think that the earlier, what we've talked about before, the earlier you can start doing this, then the stronger you're going to be. And age is not, it's just a number. And I realize there's diseases and stuff, but think about it. People that have diabetes came out of diabetes from just walking and drinking, or, staying hydration, and eating the right foods. So, you can, quote unquote, be able to beat some of these diseases.
Yeah.
So through foods and strength training, because our body is made to heal itself until it's not. We got to die of something, right? But yeah. So what would you think would be some signs of someone maybe losing strength, muscle mass, and mobility before they become truly frail?
Well, just when it gets harder to get out of your chair, when it gets harder to carry the groceries, when it gets harder to, climb the stairs or, down the stairs. By that time, it's not too late. I mean, it's not too late. But when you start to notice that just the activities of daily living, just the things that you have to do as a human being, when you find those get to be difficult, that's when you know you're probably on your road to frailty.
Yeah.
But we got to stop it in its tracks. We can't allow it to,
and don't
get
be scared.
any worse.
Yeah.
Yeah. And don't be scared to address those things either, because I've seen these seniors go from, weaker to stronger. Unfortunately, I've also seen people who, like I said, have been underserved the entire time, and they don't get to age, well or gracefully, or with longevity in mind. So I just think you'll know when you have to depend on others for the majority of your needs. Then that's a good sign. That's a good little warning sign for you.
Yeah.
That you need to take it seriously and maybe get on top of it so that you don't end up
right. And that's even more of a reason why you should start earlier. And it really doesn't matter. Like we've said a dozen times on this, doesn't matter the age. You got to start. You got to start sometime. And what I love to point this out, I say this a lot. It's not about adding something. It's about changing something. It's like, okay, maybe just take something. Me and Marie talked about this. She had a client that drank tons of Diet Cokes, and she finally started winging it off and finally now she's drinking more water, less Diet Coke's doing fantastic. But it's like, okay, if we can trade up
Yes.
one water for Diet Coke,
yeah,
it's like, okay, I don't have to drink water all day, but I can say, okay, you know what, I'm gonna cut back, maybe drink more water through the day. Maybe for dinner, only have a Diet Coke during dinner. So it's something that you're doing. So it's a little bit of change, swapping or whatever you want to say,
yeah,
without feeling like this pressure of like, I got to add this or I've got to make myself, I got to discipline myself. And I always say like diet is the bad word. let's
yes.
not
Oh,
let's
it's
not look.
terrible.
Yeah, let's not look at diet. Let's look at it. There's no perfect diet. I don't believe that. There's no perfect diet out there because it is shown. I don't care what diet is out there. It works for a while and then it don't.
And then it doesn't.
They
Yeah, it
hit,
works until it doesn't anymore.
yeah. And because they're not strength training, they're not,
Yeah.
staying hydrated and they're doing all these things. Okay. They're looking for a quick fix. That's why all these new meds and stuff, I'm really like, yeah, you need to be careful with this. And I'm not totally against it, but if you can micro dose it, but still get in the gym, strength train, find a trainer, do all the things that you need to do, but it's not like a big change. It's
Yeah.
just changing a little bit, a little at a time because, the old saying is Rome wasn't built in a day. You can't
Yeah.
eat an elephant, it's one bite at a time, which I was, when I was a kid, I was like, what does that mean?
I know. Why would I want to eat an elephant?
Exactly. Why would I want to eat an elephant? But yeah, I see the analogy now, but um, yeah. And I think it's just, I think people are just, they've been fed all this stuff from social media too. And I think it's very confusing, very aggravating. Even me as a
Yes.
trainer, I'm like looking at, well, maybe that is. I'm like, no, 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 no. Let's go back to the function. Let's go back to the foundation workouts. We're hitting those muscles. We don't have to do
Yes.
something crazy like one of my podcasts has said. We don't have to balance on one leg and throwing
Right.
kettleballs up in the air. And
Right.
great
I heard that. That was
entertaining.
great.
Great entertaining.
Yeah, you're not a circus seal, You're a human
Exactly.
being,
Right. Uh-huh.
So
Oh, it's hilarious. Um, so we've talked about the strength training and the importance. But what would be something that they can, our listeners can, we've talked about this kind of dive in a little bit more of what they can do today to help the longevity. And I know we kind of talked about that. So let's just say the average 75-year-old grandmother that has like 7 grandkids, retired, loving life, but is kind of like, I'm scared. I don't know what to do. What step should I take? And how's it going to benefit me?
Well, I mean, definitely try to find some kind of guide. Whether it's a trainer in person, an online trainer, or a class, and you still get guidance. But probably the easiest thing and the most actionable thing is just try to just move.
Yes.
Don't sit down. Just, move whenever you have the opportunity. Garden, take care of your house, play with your grandkids, if you get to see them. Sorry, this dog is biting me. Get a dog. Get a dog and wrestle your arm away from him as he's trying to eat you.
Exactly.
That's something you can do,
That's a lot of good movement
workout right now.
Exactly.
So, yeah, and just don't overcomplicate it.
That's right.
Start with something simple. Excuse me. Sorry.
That's okay.
Once I'm not giving him attention for too long, he gets kind of aggravated with me. But yeah, I mean, just don't sit. That's the most actionable, easiest, low hanging fruit is just don't sit down. Excuse me, stop. Sorry. No, stop it.
And I think there's a lot of like stretching and stuff that they can do to help them, feel a lot better. What would you like say at the top of your head? What kind of stretching could they do at home? Just something simple that can just start doing something.
Yeah, they can just start to just trying to move their bodies in space. Arm circles are great, because shoulders are the first thing usually to go.
Right.
Hip circles, and you don't have to do it, standing on one leg or anything. Hold on, balance, it's something. Bend, just bend.
Yeah.
Bend at the hips.
Like touching toes, just the whole style.
Exactly. Yeah. Go find a stretching class. YouTube. Oh my goodness. I know a lot of people. They follow classes on YouTube and they're really great. I have one client, she does a walking class when she can't get out to do her usual morning walk. Let's say the weather's not bad or the weather's bad. She does a walking class on YouTube.
Awesome. What, just for our listeners, do you have a name they can get a hold of her or just watch a video?
Her name, I can't remember her first name, but the last name is Sansalone.
Okay.
She's the walking video program. So yeah, she's good. Excuse me, I'm so sorry. He's being just
that's all right.
May I go run him outside really fast? I'm just gonna toss him out the back door.
Yep.
Hey, come on. Come on.
All right.
But just keep it simple. Just don't sit down. When it comes to, eating, just, if you can cook your meals at home, great. You really should try to, cook at home as much as you can. And it doesn't, again, that doesn't have to be difficult or complex either.
Right.
A good lean source of protein, a good clean carbohydrate, sweet potatoes, regular potatoes. You can't go wrong with those.
That's right.
And if you cook them first and then cool them, you can reheat them again. It's fine. But if you allow them to go through a cooling process, the resistant starches are better. And so it feeds your good gut bacteria.
I did not know that.
Yeah. And it reduces it by 20 to 30% calorie wise too.
Wow.
So, you can, just microwave a potato and just put it in your refrigerator and heat it up when you're ready to eat. And then a good, green leafy vegetable, or if you don't like green leafy vegetables, okay, a squash, zucchini, something like that, and the fat should be good fats, olive oil, grass-fed butter if you can tolerate it,
Avocado oil.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't have to be complex. It's not like you have to be a Michelin star chef.
I do want to point out something with you talking about the oils. I've done a lot of research with the cancers because we try to prevent as much as possible.
Yes.
So they say, from what I've read, if you're going to cook in a higher temperature, you need to use avocado oil or real butter, because they say, I forget the exact technical word, when you cook at a higher temp with olive oil, it can put out a chemical, I guess you would use, that could cause cancer. Same one with like bacon. If you cook it at a high temperature, it can also, anything smoky, anything like that. So that's something that I was going to throw in. But avocado oil is, I guess, a little more fattier than olive oil, but yet you're still getting the good fats. And that's where I think people get confused. Like, oh, this is fat. It's like, yeah, but your brain is made of fat. It's like almost 100% fat. So I guess the term being a fat head kind of. No, I'm kidding.
but and that's another thing too. We demonize food groups.
You're right.
An avocado is great for you.
Yes, absolutely.
It's mostly fat and fiber, but it's great for you. It's a good fat.
And it's not a big source of protein.
No.
I used to hear people say, well, I was like, how much protein have you had? Well, I had a avocado and had some toast and coffee. I'm like, oh, Lord.
Yeah.
And I understand that because, again, they was fed this stuff back in the 80s, 90s, and even in the early 2000s. It's like, this is a good source. It was the avocado toast. Remember that? That was huge.
Yeah.
And it still is a big thing. It still is a big thing. And
that's fine as long as you have your side of lean protein beside it.
Exactly.
Some salmon, some smoked salmon, or, just plain cooked salmon.
Exactly.
Great.
Yeah. That's what I always say. Well, that's a great base because you got your good fats. Coffee's not exactly bad for you. You're getting a little bit of stimulant Caffeine's not bad for you. It's just all the other stuff, sugars and everything we got to be careful with. Um,
Yeah.
but the toast is not actually bad for you if you do like sourdough or some kind of multigrain. It don't have to be perfect. Like I said,
Right.
people just change little things. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be consistent.
Yes. Consistency. Oh my goodness. Yeah. I mean, yeah, very important.
hmm
Because I mean, like, and 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 consistency too. I mean, you don't say you have a plan, say you know what you're going to be doing throughout the week, exercise wise
Right.
and food wise, and something gets in the way. Well,
Mhm.
adapt, overcome, change it,
Right.
but still stay consistent somehow.
Absolutely.
Say you had a 30-minute workout planned, but something happened, you gotta go help a friend out or something. All right, change that to 10 minutes. Just make it the most important fundamental movements, like again,
hmm
squatting, hinging, pushing, pulling,
hmm
one of those, and just get it done and get out of there and live your life. But
hmm
make sure to stick to your pattern as well as you
Yes.
can,
Yeah.
as well as
And
you
if
can.
and if you get off a little bit, it doesn't matter. It's like your body doesn't know if it's Monday, Wednesday, or Friday.
Right.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? It's like, oh
Yeah.
Lord, I missed my workout Monday for legs or upper body or whatever kind of workout you're doing. And it's like, oh, okay, so I can't work out till Wednesday. I'm gonna have to do upper body or just whatever. It's like, no, you don't. You can actually split it up a little bit. Monday hit 10 minutes and then Tuesday hit 15 minutes or whatever. You
Yeah.
go right back to it because it's not like your body's like, oh no, I didn't do legs yesterday. That means my legs are going to be small. They're going to be flabby. They're not ever going to be strong. It's like, no, it's okay.
They don't build overnight. They're not going to
Exactly.
disappear overnight
Right.
either.
Right. And if you just have to do like a light leg day and then just jump back the next week, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's not like it's like I always say, if it took you 6 months to be fit like you are now, you lost some weight, lost some inches, you're stronger, better mobility, better balance, you're not going to lose it in a week. Like I did a podcast not too long ago about, travel. Look, just eat what you want, do what you want. You're not going to lose it in a week. Yeah, you're going to have headaches, you're going to have inflammation, and your body's going to, kind of get a hit from it. But yeah, go back
Yeah.
and do what you need to do. And if you want to be more perfect about it, yeah, there's some good choices and vacations you can do. Just like you were saying, there's some good choice if you go out into a restaurant. It's like, okay, do I eat the chicken or do I eat the fried chicken?
Mhm.
If I eat, grilled chicken or fried chicken, or am I going to eat whatever mashed potatoes with a bunch of sour cream or something like that, which is not obviously too bad, but anyway, it's like I think people
Yeah.
overthink it, and it's
Yeah.
like you could just trade up some things and try some new stuff. It's not
Yeah.
it's not a big deal to try. Like I don't know, my daughter was like one of those very very picky. It was chicken, 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 which was great. She had some great protein, but I was like, it was chicken and chips and pizza rolls. Bless her heart.
Yeah.
Uh, so it was very, very picky situation. But just because you don't, there's something out there that you can have. I have a client right now that everything we have introduced protein wise, she does not like. But I found out she likes chocolate milk and she likes grilled cheese sandwiches. I'm like, here we go. Use real butter, use some sourdough bread, use some real cheese. You know, chocolate milk's not actually a bad thing. Use Fairlife or some kind of organic. There's choices out there that you
Yeah.
can do that you don't have to really get rid of everything you like.
Right. Yeah. And also I think people don't give themselves grace enough
Yeah,
also.
exactly. You're right.
Yeah, say you didn't do very well. Say you went out with friends and you had, decided what you wanted on the restaurant menu, but then you get there and your friend's having, ice cream and says, "Hey, you want to share this ice cream for dessert or
Absolutely.
whatever?" It's
Yeah.
like, yeah, give yourself some grace.
hmm
Don't wake up the next day going, "Oh no, I ruined it all." It's like, no, you didn't ruin it all.
Yes,
We're a
that's
human
right.
being,
hmm
in fellowship with friends,
Right.
and you can't be the stick in the mud,
Yeah, because that
there.
that that's important because if you have because you can get stressed. Like you can
Hmm.
stress yourself out. Not, I was like, I can't eat this food, blah, blah, blah. But
Yeah.
it's like, wait a minute. If I can just eat the little ice cream or a little cake for the birthday because I'm a good uncle and I'm going to spend time for my nephew or niece, that's a good thing. And it
Yes.
brings the good vibes, good endorphins, and you're having a good time,
Mhm.
which actually lowers stress, which is lowers
Yeah.
cortisol, which can actually help you lose weight.
Yeah.
you know,
Exactly. And just be healthier in general. Yeah,
yeah,
because
healthy minded.
cortisol's not burning you out.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
So, so if someone, or for someone like say, and we've talked about 40s, 50s, 60s, who feels like it's too late to make a change, what would you say to just encourage them? And we have hit on this, but that's kind of a broad spectrum. So we're talking about longevity here.
Yeah.
And we've talked about this. It's like, when do we start? Now, right?
Yeah.
So what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah. So I have a saying, or, I'm sure it's very common. You've heard it, but, the best time to start was yesterday. The second best time to
Yes,
start is today.
I love that.
Um, and we're very short-sighted. We don't really like think about the future. We just take it day by day, which in
Hmm.
some ways is a good trait to have if you just live in the present.
That's right.
You're not worrying about the past or the future, but we do to an extent have to
Hmm.
consider our futures. And if you so I'll just, use my parents as an example. I don't want to be I don't want to have the health issues that they have had.
Hmm.
And the only way I can ensure that that's not going to happen is make sure that I do not do what they did.
That's right.
So, and they, probably, I mean, just reading into their minds, they probably were just thinking about, the here and now and the present, what's going on,
Yeah,
but they did not think about the future. And
that's right.
it's very important that you kind of look ahead and see what life you want.
Hmm.
Um, so and as far as like your golden age, which is
Hmm.
retirement and stuff like that, you should follow the golden rule in a way,
Right.
but adapt it to your golden
Hmm.
age. Like, you should treat your body and your health like
Hmm.
you would treat someone else's body and health,
Yes, that's right.
and be very grateful for it, and also take care of it, and just do your best. I mean, again, it doesn't have to be complex, but just do your best to not take advantage of the health you have, and think about the future
Hmm.
that you're going to you know have for yourself and for your
Right.
family.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
mean,
Because I always say, if you don't take care of yourself, how are you going to take care of others? You've got to
yeah,
make yourself feel good.
yeah,
So I always say, take time, morning, evening, I don't care. I try to do in the morning and evening is take time to clear my mind, whatever that looks like. I pray. So just think about whatever, think on good things that makes you feel good and relax. So like start out with that and end with that, because it's like, okay, if I start out feeling good, I'm going to be in a better mood for one,
hmm,
right? Kind of like when my grandkids come over and they come over before I know it, like I'm not ready for that. It's like I did not prepare my mind. It's like, oh gosh, well, I wish you guys would have called me or text before you come. I don't say that, but they know. It's like,
yeah.
oh man. So sometimes, like literally, I've had to go out of the house, go into the studio, and just breathe for a minute. I'm like, okay, I got three grandbabies. I love them to death, but I've got to breathe. Papa's gonna have to breathe and get ready for them, get my mindset. So, it's kind
Yes.
of kind of like that when you start the day. It's like, okay, maybe I have to do this and whatever that looks like. So
Yeah.
let's get up maybe 10 minutes earlier, breathe, relax, meditate, pray, drink that water, get some hydration, or you can think clearer, drink that coffee afterwards, however you want to do that. And then you can prepare your day. It's going to be less stressful and you're going to feel better. So it's like, okay, if I help myself healthier minded, get in the gym, and then grandkids come around. A pretty cool story. It was really neat. You may have seen this. I don't know, but the scene shows this older guy, older gentleman. He's probably 75, 80, somewhere in there, maybe a little less. And he has got this kettlebell and he's taking it and he's putting it on the shelf. And he does that every day. So he's squatting down up on the shelf, squatting up on the shelf, squatting up on the shelf. Well, Christmas comes around and he shows up. He lives, I guess, off. So he hadn't seen his grandkid maybe all day or all year, whatever. Christmas comes around and he's been training the whole time to pick up his granddaughter to put the star on the top of the Christmas tree.
Oh, that's so cool.
Isn't that awesome? So
Love
it's like,
that so much.
yeah, so like train for your life.
Yes.
Train
for your future.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
I thought that was the coolest thing I ever seen. I was like, even brought a tear to my eyes. Like,
yeah.
Wow, that is so incredible. That guy had enough thinking of caring about his grandkid that he cared about his own self. So sometimes that could be a motivation. It's like, okay, I'm gonna go on a cruise maybe next summer or something, so I'm gonna work on getting my body in shape or whatever, it fitter and feel better so I can have a fun time with my grandkids and go down the slides and walk the steps and chase after them and grab ice cream or whatever, because it's like, well, maybe that could be the motivation is like, okay, I want to be happy with them. I want to be happy with my grandkids. I want to be able to pick them up. I want to be able to love on them. I want to be able to vacation. I want to do just if they drop some chips on the floor, I can bend over and pick them up. Just the simple things that people take it for granted. We really do. Like us being younger, it's like, we're fitter, but it's like we kind of do take things for granted. It's like, some people can't actually pick up that chip for that grandkid. And that's sad.
Yeah. It's so sad.
It is terrible.
And I mean, and we just, we have to do better as a society to make sure that, we don't allow that, everyone to get that way.
That's right. That's right. And I love that. I'm glad you came on the show today, because that was so we talked a little bit about it, but I'm glad we dove in, this, because there's so much knowledge there. Like we can talk about this for days and months and years, because you look at each client differently. Everybody's different, age and size and goals. So this has been so awesome. I've been loving you having on the show. And in the future, just for our listeners, we are going to have her back. And I've got a couple more colleagues that is going to jump on board. And probably, we're thinking about this in the future, we're going to have all four of us on set. That's going to be amazing. Or a disaster. I don't know. No, it's going to be
amazing.
It's going to be an amazing disaster. No, it's going to be fantastic. So, anything else you would like to leave with our listeners as we close this?
Just, I want everyone to know that they're all special and unique, and I know it sounds cliche, but your body is a temple, and
that's right.
Please respect it in the simplest ways you can.
Yes.
But we really, we just have to we have to do better, and we have to take care of ourselves and others really well. Just yeah, I mean, we pretty much covered everything today for sure. But
and I'm glad, and it's
that's
like
what it boils down to.
Yeah, and if you can't retain all of this, that's what's good about a podcast. Back it up, listen to it again.
That's right.
Like I said on the last podcast with Marie, I'm like, look, I'm going to back up and listen to it again. And I've listened to our podcast probably a dozen times, because there's so much in that she gave, and just the conversation. And that's why I love about bringing guests on the show, is because you can feed off each other, and just the knowing of where you're coming from, because you're coming from your side of it, and I'm coming from a different angle, because we're different people and we have different clients. We have different areas. I live in Mississippi, and you live, I forget where you live. Georgia. So, two different areas. Maybe even like I have 19,000 people in our city, in our town, and you probably got more than that or less. I don't know. So it's different. Everybody has their different view or their different ways in life. And I think it's just so important. That's why I've been wanting to do these podcasts. So it's like so important that we can, have the message out there for people. Hey, there's hope. It doesn't matter what situation you're in, there's hope. And I'm a firm believer in that. I've seen so many people that have just had, couldn't even, I've got one client, actually it was my mom. She is 77, 76, something like that. It was hard for her to get up out of the chair, like just stand. Well, now she's doing like, I don't know, 8 or 9 chair squats.
Yes.
Like she can get up on her own, no problem, but she grabs the back of a chair and she's doing squats. She's doing like 3 sets of 6. And just, I'm like, wow, that's amazing, Mom. So it doesn't matter. And she's, not in perfect health. And so it's like, it doesn't matter where you're at. You can do something.
Yes.
You can do something and don't be scared, So breathe and do better. And if you want to reach out to Heather, where can they find you?
Well, I'm on social media. I'm on Facebook as Heather Anderson. I also have a page, Heather J. Anderson, personal trainer. I'm on, what's that called? Instagram. Not often, but I'm on Instagram at hgen9. That's my handle. And I have a website, fitforallphases.com. And I also have a podcast too, and hope to have you on as a guest as soon as I get better at it.
Oh, you're doing great. You're great.
It's the Fit for All Phases podcast too, and you can find that on YouTube, Apple Podcasts.
Are you on Spotify? As well? Okay.
Yeah, it's everywhere.
Glad to have you on the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for listening to the Fit Life Podcast, and we will see you on the next episode.